Good afternoon to all of you. And see, like previous classes we were studying, like see for example, one period will be there, like next day you are not coming. So I was not uploading classes. Means today's class I am recording and sending. It was coming like that, and the remaining portion I was continuing in the next class. But this time onwards I will be uploading the classes. Means the next day I will be, means today I will teach something. Tomorrow I will give you online class. Okay, so you have to attend that also. Okay, because other students are there, because we are having a big syllabus is there, and we will not be able to complete if you are waiting. See, like alternative days, if you are coming in once in a week, we are getting only 3 periods, and with 3 periods we will not be able to complete. So today, which I am teaching, the continuation of that I will be teaching in tomorrow, but you will not be coming, so I will be uploading this one in the this one YouTube. You can watch it, and after that the continuation, which will continue alternatively. One day we will teach a direct class, another one we will have, and the same classes are like when I am recording this class, it is available in the YouTube also. If you have any clarifications, you can verify it. Okay, so for accountancy we have studied about the trial balance. Do you remember? Huh? So what is a trial balance? What is a trial balance? We studied. Okay, so we have studied about the trial balance, and we saw that it is the trial balance is a statement containing the balance of all ledger accounts as at any given date. Okay, so it is showing different ledger accounts are there, so the balances of the different ledger accounts are taken and added together, and we created the trial balance. Okay, so we have studied the different types of preparation, like a balancing method we have studied, and total method also. You know, balance method is there. There are 3 methods of preparation. Okay, so one is a balance method. Balance method means that balances of the different ledger accounts will be considered. Okay, so like a ledger account will be there. See, for example, if there is a ledger account, so in that ledger account there will be so many transactions will be there. Okay, so some transactions are recorded in the debit side and some are in the credit side. Okay, so here some amount will be there, here also some amount will be there. So after completing this one, what we do is that we will take the total of these both. Okay, so like this, there are like 1 200 is there, 1 300 is there, 1 500 is there. Okay, this one is there here, and one here 1 300 is there, 1 400 is there. This is the transactions. Okay, so we will take the total of this one, that is 1000. Is it no? Total it is 1000. So but here it is 700. Is it no? So but we consider this one as the total amount. Okay, after adding both, which is the greatest one, that we will consider as the total amount. Okay, so but there is for in this column there is only 700. There is a balance of 300. So we will write this balance here, and the BDD balance brought down notices, and balance will be there. Do you understand? So this balance amount, what is remaining in this one? Okay, this balance amount will be taken to the trial balance. That is the first method. Okay, so this will be taken and this will be written in the debit side. That is the first method. Okay, so here, and in all that there are so many ledgers are there. In all the ledgers, only this balance amount left. How much is to be added? That amount will be taken. That is called the balance method. Okay. Then another method is that non-considering this one, but we consider the total amount. Okay, full amount. Okay, that is called the total method. And another one method is there, balance cum total method. Both will be considered. Okay, so either balance and both are considered in that one. So that way different methods are there. So that we have already studied how to calculate this one, and how it is taken. All these things we have already studied. Next we have to take about the redrafting of a trial balance. Okay, So redrafting means that it is like a kind of a correction of mistakes. Okay. So we cannot say that it is like a trial balance. What is the purpose of making trial balance? It is to find out the mistakes that we have made. Okay. So when we are making journal entry, when we are making ledger entry, so there is a chance that there may be some kind of mistakes. So sometimes like the numbers may be mismatching, like here it is written 400, instead of that we may be writing sometimes it is written 4000. Okay, there is a chance of writing like that. Or sometimes it is actually 400 is there, but we have written only 40. Okay, so such type of mistakes are there because we are doing, human beings are doing the transactions or entering it. So you might have seen like in mathematics and all such type of mistakes are there, like you are adding in your paper itself. Sometimes students make mistakes, like in the left side you are adding the total and you get one answer there, but when you write this answer into the answer page, sometimes you may be writing something wrong. Okay, so such type of mistakes may be possible when you are entering this data into the ledger. Sometimes when you enter into ledgers, mistakes may be there, like in the bill, you are getting a bill, so based on the bills we are entering this one. So in the bill it will be there, but when you enter into the journal, there may be mistakes. Sometimes in the journal it will be written correctly, but when you enter it into ledger, there may be mistakes. Okay. So in order to find out if there is any variations are there, then in order to find out that we are preparing this one trial balance. But we cannot 100%, there is no any guarantee that by preparing trial balance all the mistakes can be calculated or found. Okay. To some extent we can find out the mistakes. It is clear from the above given examples that the total of debit and credit columns of the trial balance are always equal. Generally, when the total of trial balance is tally, then it is treated as a proof of accuracy of accounts. But it is not complete truth. Tallying of the trial balance is only a probability of arithmetic accuracy of accounts. There is a possibility of errors in the accounts which can be detected by the microscopic form of trial balance. Thus, tallying of trial balance is not a conclusive proof of the accuracy of accounts. So when we prepare the trial balance, like we are preparing trial balance, so in the preparation of trial balance also we do the transactions like that. See, like here 300 will be there, here 400 will be there, here again 300 will be there. Okay. So we come to know when you add this one, these three accounts are there, here it is there, and in this one, three are there. So here we can say here also 1000 it is coming, here also is 1000. Okay. So it shows that such a way we prepare the trial balance. So it shows that this is tallied. So both are equal. It means that all the things are correct. Okay. But still there may be mistakes. Okay. So we may say like instead of like if we have entered one thing here and this is supposed to be entered in this one, or something we have entered here which is supposed to be entered there, that may be also. So like if this one here 300 is there, here 300 is there. So if this one is written there and this one is written there, then also this will be tallied. Okay. This is supposed to be written in this side, but we have written here, and the other one is supposed to be written that side, but written in the opposite side. But the calculation wise it is correct, but still there is mistake, because this has to be coming in the credit side, but we have entered in the debit side, and which is supposed to be written in the debit side, but that has written in the credit side. So such type of mistakes may be possible. So in order to find out these type of mistakes, we do redrafting of the trial balance. Okay. So here there is a problem given, like is it there in your book? Problem 3. Preparation of a corrected trial balance. The following trial balance has been prepared by an inexperienced accountant. As on 31st March 2018, redraft it in the correct form and give necessary notes for correction. So that is the things given there. Okay. So somebody had prepared a trial balance, but this trial balance is not properly made. Okay. So the person with who is having not much experience, has made this one. So here he has written capital. First one, and it is given here 17. Here it is the design and then it is credit balance. Okay. Then second one he has written drawings. Okay, drawings is written as 2,100. Then opening stock. Opening stock 7,450. Then purchases 46,200. You can note it down in your copy. You can do it. Sales 1,33,000. Wages these are the things given there. Okay. So this is a already prepared trial balance. Okay. You can write it down afterwards, but you just see it. Can you read this? Is it clear? Yes. Okay. So here we can say that there are so many things written there, and the amount is also given there. Okay. And some amounts are written in the debit side, some amounts are written in the credit side. Okay. And when you total it, we can find that the total amount is coming both are same. So it is tallied. Okay. But it doesn't mean that everything what is written is correct. Okay. So there is a mistake. There are a few mistakes. The mistake is that only the mistake is that it is not written on the proper side. Okay. So if you take your previous page, in the beginning we have studied how to create or how to prepare the different accounts and things to remember while preparing trial balance. Okay. And there is a box given there. So in that I have already told you that you have to study about this one, isn't it? So there are things given there like a debit balance of personal accounts. What are the things to be written in the debit balance accounts and the credit balance accounts? Means which are the things to be written in the debit side and which are the things to be written in the credit side. Okay. When you see, you can find it. So here we can say that credit balance of a personal account. All these things are there. So when you go through it, you can find like a capital account. So capital account balance is supposed to be in the credit side. Okay. But here it is given on the debit side. Okay. So this is not correct. So we have to write it on the opposite side. This is to be given there. You understand? Okay. So it was given on the debit side, but it is to be written on the credit side. So when you make it, you have like this question, you have to make one more column like this. Trade balance you have to make, and in that you have to write it on the proper side. Okay. So such a way you have to do it. So here you can find one by one like that. Where are the mistakes or which side it is to be there? Like drawings. So drawings are given on the credit side, but it is not to be written on the credit side, but it has to be on the debit side. So it should be here. Okay. Then opening stock is written on the debit side, and that is correct. There is no any mistake. Okay. Then purchases are there, that is given on the debit side, that is also correct. There is no mistake. Okay. Then next one, sales. Sales are given on the credit side, that is okay. Purchases are on the side, and sales will be on that side. Okay. So that is also correct. Wages are there, which is written on the this debit side, that is correct. Electricity charges are there, which is given on the debit side, that is also correct. Machinery and equipments, that is also given on the debit side, which is correct. The next one, carried outwards. Okay, so carried outwards is supposed to be written on the this side. 460 carried outwards. So this has to be there on the debit side. Okay. Then next one, discount allowed. Sorry, returns inwards. Returns inwards 210, which is written on the debit side. It is correct. Returns outwards is given on the credit side. That is also correct. General reserve is given on the debit side, but it should be on the credit side. Okay. General reserve is should be written on the opposite side. Then discount allowed. Discount allowed is given here. That is correct. Discount received is given on the credit side. That is also correct. Rent is given on the debit side. Building premises given on the debit side. Cash in hand given on the debit side. Hmm?
Cash in hand will create.
No, cash in hand is on the debit side. Cash in hand is coming a type of assets, no? All assets are there in the debit side. Okay. All assets will be on the this one, and all liabilities. The capital is a liability, that is what is going on the credit side. Then next one is the sundry creditors. Sundry creditors is supposed to be sundry creditors. This one is supposed to be on the this side. 9, 8, 15. And sundry debtors are supposed to be on the this side. 2007, 8, 14. Okay. And the bank overdraft is to be, it is a liability, isn't it? So it is to be on the this side. Okay. So this is the credited, or this is the edited form of this one. So you have to make another trial balance. So which you have done previously, that you have to make one more. You have to make, and on that you have to write all the things in the proper order. Okay. So such a way you have to make it. Do you understand? So for this, what you have to do is that you should understand that all the different accounts, all ledger accounts are there, which type of balance it will be having. So that table or one table that is given there, so you have to study that. Then only you will be able to understand where you have to write which one. Do you understand? If you don't know this one, then you will not be able to write it. So if like a capital account is there, you should keep in mind that capital account will have credit balance. Okay? All assets will have a debit balance. So if such kind of payments are there, all those things. So then you can easily understand which are the things correct there. So if you know which one is correctly written, then if anything is written wrong, you have to adjust it. That's it. Okay, this is a very simple one. Only thing you have to know that whichever accounts will have credit balance or debit balance. So if you know that, you can do it in a easy way. So you have to study which accounts are having debit balance or credit balance. So that table you have to study. Based on that, you have to adjust, make the adjustment. Only that mistake will be there. There are no any other kind of problems. So only the side problems are there. If some are written on this side, some are written on that side. So you will have to adjust it. That is called this one redrafting of the trail balance. And on the top you have to write the date of this one also. Like a trail balance. Trail balance as at 31st March 2018. So here you have to write trail balance as at 31st March 2018. So trail balance you have to write begin size and the date. And here it is like as at is used. Okay. Always you have to write as at. Mostly when you write like balance sheet and other things, when you are writing like as on it is written. Okay. But here it is at a particular time it is prepared. So at that time it is like this. After that there may be variation. Okay. But this balance sheet is prepared for like a 1 year, 1 period wise. Okay. So that is why it is written as on particular date. Okay. So you have to write it like this. This format you have to write. So here you have to write particulars. Okay. So if you write this much, then your trail balance will be over. So that is the things that we have to study about the trail balance. And some other problems are given there. You can do it by yourself. You can do it, practice it. So it is given. Some questions are given like this. Some like a journal entry you have already studied, is it not? Journal entry you have studied. So journal entries are there. Now next we will study how to make the ledger entries. So how to make ledgers and this one. So before that, one more chapter is there. We will move on to our previous chapter. That is called special purpose subsidiary books. You may take page number 10, chapter 10. That chapter you have not studied, na? Journal you have completed, na? As per the information as I have received, up to journal chapter is completed. Cash book analysis also over, na? Cash book was taught to you, na? Sir? Okay. Next chapter that we have to study is about a special purpose subsidiary books. Okay. So we have studied about journal entry earlier, isn't it? So Sandu sir must have taught you about a journal entry. Do you remember? Do you remember what is journal entry? How to enter? So if a transaction is there, first we have to make it into journal entry, isn't it? So cash order account debtor to sales or anything like that, we are making different like one side debtor and this one, and the narration also we are writing. So such a way we make a journal entry, isn't it? But journal entry we are making separate, so many journal entries are there, but we will not get a clear idea about things. So there are some limitations for the journal entries. So let us see what are the limitations of this journal entry. Does not offer periodical details. So a clear periodical details are not given in the journal entry. So when you take a journal entry, only one transaction is displayed there. You know, all the transactions are not clearly given there. So for a period, if we want to find out what are the transactions taken place, then we cannot understand. Then next one, does not facilitate internal check. So you cannot check in detail. So detailed check or anything is not possible. Single journal system does not facilitate the installation of an internal check system, since the journal can be handled by only one person. So we cannot see, like, it does not give a clear idea. Like if I am writing here and there, all the things are there. So one person who is handling only will be able to understand it. Okay, what he has written, all the things. Another person is checking, then it will be very much difficult for other person to understand that. The next one becomes voluminous and bulky. So like each and every transactions we have to record in one book itself. Then what happens is that so for writing one transaction itself, we have to write one debit side account, one credit side, one narration, amount. So at least 3 lines it will be covered. So if there are some 100 transactions, then almost half of the book will be over like that. So when you write like that, so many, like maximum, see, like in a big companies and all, or in the shops and all, there are so many transactions, 200, 300, 500 transactions will be there, even more than that transactions will be there. So writing and maintaining this much, it needs a very big size of books are required. So many number of transactions are required. So it is again very problem. Then next one, tedious to maintain. It is very difficult to maintain. It is not that easy to maintain. You know, so many things we have to write, and maintaining it and understanding the data from it and all is a very much complicated procedure. Then time consuming. Also, if there are so many customers coming, then preparing this one is not very easy. You know, one person is supposed to sit there and do, and it will take a lot amount of time. You have to calculate it and write it. All the works are there. It will take a lot amount of time. And another one is costly to manage. Okay, so many books are required, so many stationery items are required. One specialist person should be there for recording these things. So much amount of expenditure will be there. And in order to reduce these type of problems, we use another, or in order to make it some more easy, we use this special purpose books. Special purpose books or subsidiary books are the subdivisions of a journal where business transactions of a particular nature as per the type of subsidiary books are recorded. These special journals are the books of original or primary entry and strictly adhere to the rules of a double entry bookkeeping system. Once subsidiary books are put into use, the system of recording gets streamlined and the transactions can be classified and grouped conveniently. So special purpose books means that so for a particular purpose or particular transactions are recorded on a particular book. So there will be separate books for different transactions, and those things are entered in a particular book. Okay, like cash book. So there is a cash book means that only cash related transactions will be entered. So it will be very much easy to understand. So in a journal we are entering all the things together. cash also is there, credit also is there. All the things we are received ones are there, given ones are there. All things are mixed up there. So it will be very much difficult to understand. But here only some related, all the related informations are given on that. So we will, and for a periodical data also we will be able to. So like for 1 month, all the things we can go through it, and it is easy to find out. Okay. General transactions are of two types, cash and credit. Cash transactions can be grouped in one category, whereas credit transactions can be grouped in another category. Thus, in practice, the main journal is subdivided in such a way that a separate book is used for each category or a group of transactions which are repetitive and sufficient large in number. So here what we are doing is that the mainly it can be classified into two categories. What is one is cash transactions and the other one is credit transaction. What is the meaning of cash transaction? Cash transaction means that on the spot we are giving money and paying, purchasing the things. Okay, or we are purchasing something, then we give money and purchase it. That is called cash transactions. And credit transaction means what? We will say that we will kal denge. So we will say that we will give next day, or we will say afterwards. So that,
Shop now, pay later. Shop now, pay later.
So that is the thing. So with some shopkeepers are there. They are providing credit facility. Or imagine that you are purchasing a car. Okay. So you see, like if you are purchasing a car for 7 lakh rupees, but on the spot you may not be able to pay all the money. So what they are providing is that they provide a car loan. So like if you are purchasing Maruti, then Maruti itself is providing, or some other loan facilities are there. So they give the credit facility. So you have, like you are purchasing 7 lakh rupees car, but you need to pay only 2 lakh, remaining 5 lakh you can pay as loan. So monthly, like if you are, see, like if I am there working here in the school, so monthly salary is there. So some money like 10,000 rupees per month they will cut. Okay. So such a way we can pay the this one, and this type of facility is provided for all the people, and even the shopkeepers. You may be thinking that the shopkeepers are not giving you credit, but they are taking everything on credit. So they bring the product here, keep it there. Like for this week, they will bring some products and keep there. They are bringing this product on credit. They are not paying direct cash and bringing. They bring and keep this product here for 1 week. They will sell the product. They get the money. After that, they pay the money. Those who are shopkeepers, those who are having shops, they know. Like winter clothes are there. Bulk purchase they bring. Large amount of products they will bring. 50% or 20% of the products money they will pay first. Then they will bring for some 5 lakh rupees, 10 lakh rupees product they will bring together, and they keep it here for 1 month. Then they will sell it and they collect the money and pay back the money. So the credit facility has to be provided. So if a wholesale company is not providing credit, then they will not be there. So if you consider a business transactions, there will be many this credit transactions will be there. There will be many cash transactions also will be there. Okay, so we will divide them into two categories. One is cash transactions and the other one is credit transactions as a whole. Okay. Next we have to study is about the types of special purpose books. Different types of special purpose books are there. The following are the main types of special purpose books. First one is a cash book. Is used for recording only cash transactions, receipts and payments of cash. So here cash book is used only for entering the cash transaction. So whether cash received or paid. Okay, only two types of transactions will be there. So all the cash related transactions will be entered in the cash book. The next one is called purchase book. Records only credit purchases of the books by the trader. So purchases books means that only the credit purchases. If we are purchasing something by paying cash, that will not be recorded in the purchase book. It will be recorded in the cash book. And if we are purchasing something on credit, that will be entered in the purchase book. Okay. So such a way the sales book is there. All the credit, the sales will be entered in that one. Then purchases return book records the goods returned by the trader to the supplier. See, like there are purchases returns also. Purchases returns and sales returns also will be there. Returns means that, say, like if you are bringing, as I told you, you are bringing products. Okay, 5 lakh rupees products you have brought. Maybe like some 10 jackets. Okay, you have brought 10 jackets or 20 jackets to sell. and this 20 jackets are there, and you sold this 18 jackets, you have sold it, but 2 you could not sell it because there are maybe some problems are there. So what you do is that you will return this product, isn't it? So you need not to pay for all 20 products. You need to pay, so you already are not paying the money. So you purchased the product for 20 products you brought from there, from the wholesale shop, and you keep it in your shop, and when you will pay back after 1 month. But 20 products you were thought of selling it, or you thought that you will be able to complete selling the product, but there are some default products, some products are torn or some problems are there, so you could not sell it, so you will return this product. Or sometimes like expiry date are getting over, isn't it? It's like you have brought bread or some food items you have brought and ready for selling, and you kept it in the shop for 1 month, and by next month the expiry is going to get over. There are expiry date is written that you can sell this product for 6 months, like bread and all is only for 5 days.
3 days.
3 days, 4 days, like that. Okay. So when that period is over, customers will not purchase the product. Sometimes if the shopkeepers may be selling the product even after the expiry is over, but we have to be careful because these products will be like, even if you are purchasing a medicine, you are purchasing a fever tablet, but instead of having that tablet as a medicine, if that time is over, it can work as poison. Okay, it will create problem more than benefits. It will be more side effects will be there. So like if any products are there, like bread, you bring a purchase a bread, and if it is like 5 days are over, you may see that some fungus and all will be there. Even if that nothing is visible, some fungus and all is not visible there, but when you eat it, there will be some kind of problems in our stomach. Okay, so whichever, and you know, see, like they are using some fermentation type of things, and there in order to bring it up, they are using some yeast and other type of things they are using. So those things can create harm. Isn't it? So like if you put a yeast in a water and keep it for some 1 day, after that next day it will become like, it will create some bad smell and all. Okay, so such a way it is there. So if this product, even just imagine that you are having some food, you made some chapati you made, and just keep it in a plate. 1 day you keep it, 2 days you keep it, and third day if you open and see, you will say that there are so many fungus and all. Isn't it? So everything there are problems are there. Expiry dates are there for the products. So if the expiry date is going to get over, then what they do is that they return this product. Okay, or like electronic products, mobile phones and such kind of products are there, there may be kind of damages will be there, so those things will be returned. So those returns will be entered in a particular book. So your shopkeepers, those wholesale shopkeepers and all, they will be getting many products returns will be there, so they will be have to enter these things. Then sales return, so you sold it and you got return, that is called the sales return. Those things will be entered. Bills receivable books.
Purchase book.
Purchase book I told you, na, record all the credit purchases, and sales book means record all the credit sales. Okay. Then a sales returns book is there. Bills receivable books are there, records the receipts of bills. Bills receivable, all the bills receivable will be there, that we will be recording in this one. And bills payable, so like bills receivable means that we have to get the money. Okay, we got the bill, but we have not the money. So, and the bills payable means that we have to pay these bills. We got the bill, but we have not paid the bill. Then journal proper is the general journal which records the entries which cannot be entered in any of the above listed subsidiary books. So journal proper means that like an adjustment or miscellaneous book like. Okay, means that all the transactions are of these type of transactions can be entered in this one, but there may be, if any other transactions are there which cannot be entered in these books, that can be entered in the journal proper. Okay, so these are the different subsidiary books. Okay, thank you so much.